On today's episode of the Podcast Industry Brief, we're taking a look at Spotify and the latest things that are happening there, including new creator insights, a podcast clipping tool, and their recent ban on AI-generated podcasts. Well, kind of. We're also going to take a look at our favorite video podcasts that are headed to streaming networks and the latest podcast features for YouTube Premium members. Let's get into the news. Let's kick things off with updates to Spotify for creators. Specifically, analytics kind of got a little bit of an overhaul. So we got some new analytics rolling out, including the ability to see new and returning users, right? This is important so we know, are we actually retaining an audience or is every episode just bringing in all new people and nobody's sticking around, right? We can then start to make changes if necessary and with our content strategies. You can also evaluate your episodes against each other, see how they're performing, right? What sticks out, what, is not performing, how do we make changes in that way? And then you can also chart your growth through long-term engagement. So these are going to be things like your comment section, as well as your retention rates and completion rates, things like that. So we're starting to see more analytics very similar to YouTube, right? You can go in and very fine-tooth comb almost inside of YouTube and see where people drop off, all those types of things. So Spotify's thankfully rolling out some of that stuff now so we can actually see are we creating podcast episodes or video content that is sticky, is engaging? People want to come back and watch it some more. So I'm very thankful to see some of that coming from Spotify. They also did a revamp of kind of your home analytics page. So more data, less digging, kind of on the main screen. You've got overall view of your lifetime analytics, right? How many downloads, how many subscribers or listeners, those types of things, the consumption hours, that type of thing. And so you've got now all these panels that kind of show, whether it's a month, a week, things like that, those analytics just right on the homepage for you to grab. But most importantly, I think this is the part that everyone is most excited for. Standardizing a new definition of plays, right? This has always been a big point of contention inside of the podcasting space and just video in general of how much does someone have to listen to or consume for it to be counted, right? And so Spotify is creating transparency. They've worked with the Alliance for Measurement in Podcasting, or AMP, to create an industry standard, or they're working on creating an industry standard. And so they have come forward and said, someone consumes your podcast or your piece of content for 30 seconds or more, that constitutes a play, a listen, a watch, that kind of a thing. So very good. We now know that 30 seconds, super important at the very beginning to get someone hooked and into your podcast. And if they stick beyond that, great. Second piece of news from Spotify is that they rolled out a podcast clips maker so you can save and share your favorite moments from your favorite podcast. The reason I think this is super important is because if someone texts me a podcast to check out and it's 2 hours long, I'm going to struggle to just want to put that on and listen right away. However, if that person sends me their favorite 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute of that podcast, and it really resonates with me, I'm going to be much more likely to click in and enjoy the full length conversation, right? So this is really giving your audience the opportunity to do that. And I think it's something that we, the hosts, need to be encouraging our audiences to do. So I encourage you right now, if you get something out of this episode, it's on Spotify, go clip it, share it with a friend, send it to me. I would love to see what you guys pull or what you think is the most important part of these episodes. I know currently this is only rolled out on mobile. Is it coming to desktop? Yet to be seen. Third piece of Spotify news is that Spotify has officially banned AI-generated podcasts that impersonate someone else, and they've added verification badges for podcasts. What does this all mean? If you have a podcast that uses AI-generated voices to mimic celebrities or well-known figures, that's a no-no on Spotify. It's basically what they're saying. Could get your show either taken down or specifically that episode taken down, but kind of makes you an untrustworthy person in their eyes, right? If you're using, let's say, Arnold Schwarzenegger, is an AI voice of Arnold Schwarzenegger to impersonate him and say things that are not true, those types of things. So they're trying to crack down on some misinformation that could be getting spread through AI-generated stuff. They've also implemented the verification badges. They did this with musicians a while back, and they're rolling it out now to podcasters. So this will be based on if you meet the threshold to be a verified podcaster. Are you a real person? How is your audience? Does it seem legit? All those analytics that we kind of looked at before are going to play into you being able to get featured get this verification badge on your podcast. Fourth piece of Spotify news is that they're rolling out something called Studio by Spotify Labs. This is basically like a personalized Spotify experience, kind of AI generated. So it could be AI generated podcasts. It can also put together music for you. The idea is to kind of learn your preferences inside of the Spotify like app and create like an even more personalized experience for you with music, with topics you want to hear about, those types of things. So when I said in the intro that AI podcasts are banned on Spotify, this is kind of the asterisk to that. Yes, AI podcasts, AI generated podcasts that are impersonating another person are going to be banned on Spotify, but AI generated podcasts in general, not totally banned on Spotify. In fact, they're actually leaning into it. This is something similar we saw with Amazon in their recent announcement with like Alexa Plus, things like that. So is this something you're going to use in your daily life? I doubt. For me, I value the human element of podcasting. So this is not for me, but it's happening. Our fifth and final piece of Spotify news is that Netflix and Spotify have acquired the video rights to Jay Shetty's On Purpose podcast in a deal said to be worth up to $100 million. This is very much in line with the trend we've been seeing, right? Netflix has made a huge play for podcasts, signing a bunch of contracts, primarily with iHeartRadio. We can see here even Netflix and iHeartMedia expand their podcast deal. They're bringing Martha Stewart, Kate Hudson, and a bunch of other podcasts to Netflix. They're also launching a couple shows. That's what this article shows. SiriusXM is sending Conan O'Brien and Trevor Noah's podcast over to Tubi, right? This is just like what we're seeing now. The streaming platforms are going for podcasting. They're signing exclusive deals. And I think it's really interesting. Now, if you want me to put my tinfoil hat on for a second, something that I see potentially being a reason for this, specifically with Jay Shetty, is that if you look at Jay Shetty's numbers over, let's say, the past year, I feel like he's kind of fallen off on YouTube just a little bit. And that's not to say he's not still pulling incredible views, way more than me. Dude is making probably hand over fist money-wise and brand deals, and he's bringing on some of the best guests and things like that. Like, the dude is still very successful. But in seeing that downward trajectory, here's a deal for $100 million, put his content on a platform that's never existed before, Netflix, maybe to a new audience. But also it just kind of like gives him a flat out like deal, right? $100 million. I don't know also what the back end is of like, does he continue to get royalties on it? Is it a flat end deal? Something we see in the music industry is that artists will sell their catalog to, one of the major record labels or to, one of the streaming platforms, things like that, just for a lump sum of money. And, the record label is expecting they're going to make back their money with continued streams on that platform. The artist is just looking for a way to like, hey, I'm going to cash out in a lot of ways. So are these deals like cash out deals? Like possibly for some of these podcasters. For other ones, I don't think so, but I don't know. It's just interesting. Again, that's like very tinfoil hat of me, but something I guess we should like keep our eye on is like, are these podcasts here to last or are they going by the wayside? Next up on the docket, we're hopping over to YouTube land and we're going to take a look at YouTube premium features that they claim podcast fans will love. So first and foremost, on-the-go mode allows premium users to enjoy listener-friendly controls while out and about. So whether you're going for a run or on your commute or just multitasking. Now, if you don't know, YouTube Premium allows you to like lock your phone screen. So while you're watching a video, you can lock your phone screen and still listen to the audio coming through. So my understanding of this is just kind of like similar to like the way Spotify transitions from listening to audio to video. The controls will slightly switch. So you have a little bit more of like a standard podcast control with like 10 seconds forward, 10 seconds back, jumping ahead chapters, that kind of a thing. And so, yeah, just seems like a nice little like UI tweak that'll make like consumption a little bit easier. Secondly, they're rolling out auto speed, which allows premium users to watch or listen to their favorite YouTube content more efficiently without having to sacrifice comprehension. Interesting. My understanding of this, and there's not really a whole lot to go on. I mean, it's literally a paragraph, but basically it will speed up or slow down your podcast depending on like how much information is being presented and the density of that information. My guess, they're using AI to kind of like scrape the transcript and look at the videos and determine, hey, this is a more important segment and should slow down and you guys should actually listen versus, hey, this is a little bit fluffier, we can speed that up kind of a thing. Now, for someone like me who I listen to podcasts on a varying amount of speeds. If I'm just trying to like consume and get the information out of it, usually it's like 2x, and then I'll go back and highlight certain parts that I want to revisit, as compared to like if I'm just listening for like pleasure, I'll listen at a slower speed, typically 1.25, something like that, because I'm actually just trying to like enjoy it. So I'll be interested to see how this like works, right? Of like, how does it determine what a relevant moment is? So I don't know. I guess we'll just get to see. The third feature, Ask Music meets podcasts. Finding a new podcast can sometimes feel like searching for a needle in a haystack. So we're making it easier. So Ask Music is the ability to say, hey, I want to listen to this style of music. I want to listen to the kind of this vibe. I'm doing this thing. Make a playlist for me. And now it's rolling out to podcasts, which I think is super cool. I mean, one of the trickiest parts about getting our podcast in front of people's eyes is, of course, like recommendations. People are more likely to listen to a podcast if it's being recommended to them or just being presented to them, like front and center. And so I don't know how we optimize for this, or like how we get our shows maybe featured, as opposed to like the big boys who are already getting millions of downloads a month. But we'll see. This could be a really cool tool for some of like the more niche podcasters like myself, to get our shows in front of the right audience. So we'll see. One last piece of news I wanted to hit was this article from the Hollywood Reporter titled, "What is a Podcast? Podcast Industry Task Force Forms to Determine Definition and More." The long and the short of this article is basically that a bunch of people from inside the industry, both people from like hosting and networks, from creators, from the advertisers, have come together and they're actively working on creating a definition for what a podcast is. This article talks a lot about why this is important for the advertising side of things. Advertisers just don't know how to spend their money inside the podcasting realm, because we have video podcasts, we have audio podcasts. The analytics on all that stuff is very different, and it's like hard sometimes to know where to spend their money. And so it's estimated that about $1 billion is kind of being wasted in the industry right now, or just not even being spent on the industry right now. And so hopefully, as we get more definitive answers on what podcasting is, how do we track it, what does success look like, all of these types of things, how advertisers can know that they're spending their money wisely, it'll kind of like become easier, right? For advertisers. It also will become easier for creators to know how to package our content in a way that sells to advertisers. So as we're wanting to bring people into the fold, get paid for what we make, like hopefully, I think this is a net positive, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I got two more things for you. Number one is this resource from the podcast show in London. Justin Jackson from Transistor Hosting Services and Jeremy Enns from Podcast Marketing Academy. They did this talk called Is Podcasting Cooked? And they talked a lot about video podcasts and AI in podcasting. And there's this kind of threat going around right now, it feels like, of like, if you're not doing a video podcast, you don't have a podcast. If you're not embracing AI, then like you're failing and you're going to get left behind. And they really just kind of asked everyone to take a breath and asked everyone to evaluate and think about, can I just try it? Can I just try video editing? Can I just try a little bit of AI? Can I just, they really took the pressure off of like embrace all of these things and really just said, hey, what if we just look at it from a, let's try this, let's experiment with that. Are we okay with that? So this gave me a lot of great ideas for my shows and the shows that I produce for, and just kind of like looking at the strategies that we're implementing, what's working, what's not. They give a lot of great ideas if you don't want to make a video podcast, but kind of want to have a video podcast, but maybe your face isn't on screen, things like that. They talk a lot about maybe how to make that happen. They talk about the role that AI can play inside of your podcasting. Just a really great like hour-long talk, worth the watch, highly recommend. Last up, I've got Tool of the Month. This is Bumper, and it's basically an analytics dashboard that connects to my Apple Podcast Connect. It's connected to my Spotify for Creators, and it's connected to my YouTube channel. I'm on the free plan, so it gives me a 90-day kind of snapshot of what's going on those platforms. But we can see here, you can see playback, listener and watch hours, followers. If we scroll down, we've got playback stuff down here. Listen and watch times. And the reason I wanted to try something like this out is that while I think Spotify for Creators is getting better with their analytics, we looked at it at the beginning of the episode, it doesn't account for my YouTube stuff. I can do a spreadsheet and I can build it all out myself and look at what are my actual numbers, or I can come into a tool like this and it does it for me. So I wanted to give it a shot. Again, this is the free plan. If you want to upgrade, you can get access to like shorter time spans. You can get more historical data. I've enjoyed like playing around and putzing around on it. Just kind of gives me that nice like overview that I've been looking for in one place. I just come to once a month, take a peek. Boom. Well, that is it for this month's podcast industry brief. If there's any stories I didn't hit on or things you want to see me cover, drop them down in the comments below. I would love to check those out. And until next time, we'll see ya.